Thank you, everybody, to be here. Right, Jungle to People. Community regeneration through design. I'd like to say a little bit about design, what this word means to me and what it used to mean to me, really. Design to me is no more about product design. It's no more about a brief, as Carol was saying. It's no more about price point, market segment, etc. It really is the beginning of design to me. It starts with a question: where are my raw materials growing? By who? And this sort of question goes all the way in a big loop to the end, which is, where are these raw materials ending up? Now, why did I change so much my way of thinking? This is really what I thought about when I was getting this ready. How did I think so much my way of thinking, my way of feeling, and my way of doing things? I wasn't born in the jungle, so it didn't start in the jungle. I was born in Spain. I came to Ireland in the early 70s. I set up a company here manufacturing leather goods, luxury leather goods, so it was a good company, good products, still going, beautiful raw materials. And where did we get these raw materials? These raw materials came from trade shows. We usually go to trade shows to get our raw materials. So we had a brief, beautiful, soft, good color, etc., etc. And this is really where we started our product. It didn't really, well, we knew about tanneries. Tanneries were really smelly places, full of water, you know, like, ooh, you don't go to tanneries. So we never made the link consciously in our head about dirty, smelly things and these beautiful, soft things that we were using now. There's a huge amount of chemicals, there's a huge amount of things in between. Then I started to do consultancy work, quite a lot in South America. One of the places I went to was Bolivia. And in Bolivia, one of the places that really struck me most was the Altiplano, one of the highest plateaus in the world. And there I worked with the Quechua and the Aymara, who are communities, ethnic communities of the place. And I had a brief to work with these people. And this brief came from Europe, came from Germany, actually. And my brief was to help these people to develop products to go to international markets. Now, I have to tell you that I really never fulfilled that brief. The brief became how I could help those people to fend for themselves, by themselves, to get those very simple products that they could make into the local markets, which were really in a radius of maybe 20 to 30 kilometers. And this is really what we did. And this was a huge lesson for me because it really showed me how people were so important and they were really from the beginning coming into my life. Then I went to the Philippines. This was another work I was asked to do, and it's still the same brief. I was supposed to upgrade the leather industry in this country. Surely there was no great leather around the place, so I discovered fibers. I discovered plant fibers, and this really was how I got to the source of everything. It really showed me that I had to start working from the beginning, and it was so real to me that really changed completely my way of thinking and of working. So I will really go through a little bit the source of what it is, my raw materials. One of them is buntal. And maybe for the people that don't know too much about it, buntal is the only cylindrical fiber that exists. It comes from the buri palm, let me see. It comes from the petiole, which is the stick. You know the, how do you say? Stalk. The stalk, right, thank you. The stalk. Now, it's about 2 meters long. From the top, which is the fang-like, you get the raffia when it's still closed. So we cut the petiole, it's pulled, and from there we get all these fibers by hand. The fibers are cleaned, are rolled to be able to be manipulated, and they are worked usually and traditionally making hats. Now, as my brief was still to make leather bags, so we started to make bags. This is a 1995, one of the first prototypes, using the skills we were finding around. This is the wonderful thing about working this way. Where the fibers grow, the people around, they work with those fibers, they develop their way of really thinking and living and doing things with such a soul qualities. They really use what they have in the best way. So I really just had to learn from them. So this is actually made in a mold, working around with the skills they have. So this is really my my trade shows where we usually go now to get the things, right? And Carol, for you, it's not any fancy place, it's just a corrugated house. The fibers go to these people, this is the next stage, and the fibers are kept in buckets and in plastic things full of water. They usually put a bit of peroxide to make them white because they think that white is more expensive. And I tell them, but after 2 months, it goes golden, and I think this is nice, but they don't believe that. So anyway, that's where they keep the fiber in water. This is it, and they put stones on top to make sure it doesn't pop up. And this is how I learned what I know. It's really from the people as well. This is the man of the house, if we can say that, and through these people I'm able to now say, yeah, you've got first, second grade, third grade, I can use this, I can use the other. So it really is this total communion between the people and how I think it is. Now, as I was saying, the people work where the fibers grow. And this lady, for example, she was actually sitting there where we were getting our fibers, going away, making the beginning of a hat. You can see a little bit what is happening. This is the hat, it's not fully finished, but I love hats. So it was really by observing this that you really come about with the ideas that they're holistic because they really make sense. They're there already. Another fiber I use still is abaca, banana fiber. It comes from the abaca plant, which is a banana plant that doesn't give bananas. And this is a product made from those fibers, directly from the fibers, going through very simple research and development processes, handmade also in the Philippines. Now, those fibers are cut in the jungle. This looks like a jungle, Carol. They are cut, it's like a tree, and then it's not actually the tree because the leaves go all the way down, and it's the leaves that create the trunk of the tree. So those leaves are then taking, this is really the traditional. Now they have decorticating machines, but it's the same idea. The leaves you can see there on the left-hand side, they are pulled through a decorticating machine, so all the pulp and the mushy things stays in one side, and you have these fibers in the other side. I like to say that banana fiber is about 8 times stronger than cotton. It doesn't rot in salted water. That's why they made all the robes. It's quite